Welcome to season 12 of the Social Work Rants podcast, providing an inside look of the social work mental health profession, social work being political, the struggles of social work entrepreneurship, the intersectionality of mental health and finances as it relates to social work and society as a whole. Let's get it. Hope you enjoy. Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of the Social Work Rants podcast. I'm your host, Bash Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to the podcast. So, shout out to everybody who's continued to support. My guest at this time, uh, Erica Jurado. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. A little cold, but doing well.
Yes. Shout out to everybody that's dealing with this cold and this recovering from this snow and ice. And as of this recorded this weekend, the Carolina is about to get hit with some more snow and ice, and the people in Atlanta like dealing with this wind and just winter's been brutal. So stay safe out there. Um, we talk about for those who don't know who you are, what you do in the space. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation. So my name is Erica Hurtado. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am also the owner and founder of Unscripted Therapy, which is currently a solo practice, soon to be group practice. But for the time being, it's me. I do a lot of trauma work. I work with adolescents and adults, primarily complex trauma, developmental trauma, a lot of attachment wounds. I also, in addition to that, do immigration evaluations, and soon I'll be launching some groups. So excited to do that.
Awesome. That's a lot of great work. What I seen a lot of stuff regarding immigration evaluations. What does that entail? I know there's obviously a lot that's been happening on the news for the past year, and literally like seems like every day something is going on. Like what those evaluations entail.
Yeah, so for the purposes of the work that I do, I typically work with an attorney that is then telling the client specifically what they're looking for. They're looking for an asylum and evaluation to support, I'm sorry, to support their asylum claims, their VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, and there's a few more. So what I do is then look at from a psychological perspective, how can I support those cases for the client. So it is doing a biopsychosocial, really gathering a lot of information, taking the time to sit with the clients, get a better understanding of their history, how that's showing up, and really the fear of being returned back to their country of origin.
Mm. How does one get into try to do those evaluations for MSW students or young social workers like who want to help or figure out what they want to do in their careers?
Yeah, so I actually did a training a few years ago, through with Georgia King. It was an amazing like training. It was really helpful because it helped understand like what the different categories of the different evaluations that one can do, the language, right, of being mindful of using words like country of origin, shared versus like reported. So kind of those things and really breaking down. Keeping in mind like who's going to be reading these reports. She also, so it was super helpful. I did a training. I know there's several other trainings out there that people
Mm.
do. Also, I think sometimes it's like I don't necessarily know that you need a training per se, but speaking to a colleague that already does them, sitting down and really breaking it down, I think it's also another way to go in and start doing that type of work.
Cool. Uh, what has it been like as a business owner during this time? I know feel like I stress to the core on the podcast about normally they don't teach us how to run a private practice in grad schools, and we're dealing with taxes, we're dealing with a lot of back end stuff and all the things, marketing to try to get clients. Like, how does that been like for you?
That has been quite the journey. Um, so I'm like shaking my head because I'm like, wow, like all these different things start coming to mind.
Mm,
I think it's a lot of introspection of like understanding like what are your goals, where are you looking like to go, a lot of like shifting and changing in the process. I would say it's quite the journey because I think of like all the different roles that we have to do, as you were saying, like
mm,
marketing, like social media, where do you get the clients from? Um, what's the niche? Like what type of clients do you want to work with? Like there's just so many layers at any given point that are going on. I think my hardest thing it's being like the one man show or rather one woman show of having
right.
to be the one that has to take care of all these things. And not only that, but like making sure that I'm still present and I'm showing up for my clients and
Mm,
doing the work that I was called to do. And so it's not only all the other stuff that goes on in the background, but making sure I'm staying present for clients, for my family, my friends, and making sure that I'm not then like diving into like only like clients and then on the back end, like SEO and websites and business cards and all that stuff.
right. Uh, Man, the amount of money I spend on business cards, phew, get me started.
Oh, don't even get me started on business cards. And ended up having to give up because I did them like 3 or 4 times. Like the aligning wasn't correct. Like, and I was like, also what has been fascinating around this process of like my business is if you had asked me like before like starting my business, like, oh, like would you consider yourself a perfectionist? I would have said absolutely not. And during this process, that's the one thing that has stood out to me the most, like how like stuck I can get on like making sure like the business card looks a certain way, the website looks a certain way, and really realizing I think that's where I am now, like on my journey, like really like not getting stuck on those things, like just putting it out there and
Yeah.
and not getting stuck. So yeah, business, you said that and I was like reminded me of that journey.
Shout out to my neglected website. I got to get cracking on. Continue to fix it.
But that's the thing, right? Like, I spend so much time on my website and making sure that it looks a certain way. And I think my website, I launched it now, what, maybe 3 years ago now, and asked me how many times I've gone back to like update it or change it or something. So I think sometimes we just get like, I'll speak for myself, getting stuck on things that don't
Hmm.
necessarily need to like require that much energy
Yeah.
and time. So I think part of being like the business owner that I'm like developing into is figuring out like where like what are the things that really require my time and effort.
No, that makes sense. No, no, especially like I think of like websites or things like that. Like I'm trying to like into like grants. No, I'm still like no, I like rebranded my business like a couple years already and still struggling to get like consistent clients. So just kind of like st stay like afloat and things like that, making sure things are right. Like if I'm like applying for grants, like they notice the website and they notice like what I'm trying to do and trying to get this money because this business debt is kicking my behind.
Um, yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because that's the other thing I feel like we don't talk about enough in our communities. Like we see like the successes and the practices being built and but we don't oftentimes like hear the times that were like really hard and challenging in the process, the times that you're like, where is like my next like paycheck
Hmm.
coming from? Or when like, I've definitely been there, like my caseload is so low and I'm like, okay, this is amazing for my mental health and yet like I have bills to pay and I have things to like
Right.
to do. So I appreciate you speaking to that because we don't necessarily oftentimes talk about like the journey and
Yeah.
how difficult it is to get some places.
Yeah, and that goes back to my original point of like don't for like grad schools not to gear us to try to do private practices where like I'll just do a private practice of like what if you don't want to or like just kind of like the struggles the every day that goes into that and on top of that, we gotta take that annoying exam just to even like get to that point. So, or if you work in a group practice, work under LC and things like that. So it's a lot more work that goes into it. It's like day to day stuff and constantly trying to put yourself out there. You might not even be uh you might be an introvert and it's like try to like I gotta get put my face out there. Like I'm scared, nervous, so it's a lot that goes into it.
Absolutely. There's so many different layers that don't get like spoken about, that we're not prepared for in grad school. And I actually had the different experience. Like, not only was I not prepared, but also in grad school, I was like discouraged from doing private
Mm,
practice. Like, it was actually something like if you said you wanted to do private practice, it was like looked down upon. It was like, oh, that's what everyone wants to do. It was almost like this idea of like, oh, you're just in it for the money. And it was like highly discouraged when it was brought up in grad school.
mm. I mean, yeah, we in it for we gotta be in it for the money. That's we got, especially in this economy, like or the economy since at least since 2020. Like I- I've always been as much as about the outcome, the income as the outcome. That's always been. I'm going on 24 years in the social service field. I've always been about my money and my check as much as helping out the folks. So um,
Yeah.
do not
And
play
I'm
with me
glad that you're
regarding money.
and I'm glad that you're saying that because I feel like that's another form of like controversy sometimes like in our community. And I think there's this notion sometimes that you can't do like meaningful work and also make an income while we're doing this. It almost feels like sometimes there's like these extreme views, like you're either like making an income, but you're not actually doing meaningful or you care about the work. And I'm like, can we bridge that gap that yes, we can make money and really care for our clients and want to support the community and do really meaningful work.
No, no, absolutely. Especially like I said, it comes down. We got bills to pay. We got families to feed. Like property taxes, school taxes kicked my butt this past winter. So it's like, especially the school tax really annoyed me. So just got my gas bill, got my electricity bill, and it went up. I'm like, everything's going up except the check. So we gotta we gotta make things work.
Don't even get me started. As I'm hearing you and hearing like the list, I'm like, I deeply feel that, right? Like it's just like our expenses and our bills continue to go
Mm-hmm.
up. But yeah, it's like it's that notion, and I wish like we continue to like bridge that gap, not thinking that making money means like we're not helping people because that's quite the opposite. In order to be able to help our clients and be present and show up and do initiatives and stuff, like we also need the resources on the back end. Like we need to take care of ourselves. We need to be grounded. We need to be in a good place in
Mm-hmm.
order to be able to like show up. And if we're not well, and we're stressed about like how are we going to pay all these bills, like how are we expected also at the same time then to be able to show up
Yeah,
and do
exactly.
great healing work in the therapy space?
No, it's true. And sometimes we be in the same boat as some of our clients sometimes because like, I've had clients who are like, I need housing. I'm like in my head, I'm like, shit, me too. I'm like, I need a new apartment. I need to move out of my apartment. Or like, well, we live in a state where there's no such thing as new apartments. So I'm literally like go like this with my hands. I'm like, I can't help you. I'm stuck. It's like
You're like, when you figure it out, you let me know.
it's, no, it's true. It's like I remember doing case management years ago and try to help budget like somebody's social security check because they'll spend it on cigarettes and drugs and things like that. And like me try to budget, I barely budget myself. I'm going to teach somebody how to budget their social security check or make sure they don't blow it like the first weekend of the month, blow their money, and then like they need assistance with food like later on in the month. It's like
Yeah. But
It's
that brings me like that makes me think of another point, which is like the one that I always say, like the importance of community and connections and resources, because contrary to like what people think, like we can't like help with every single thing that's happening in the therapy room. And
mm,
when you were saying that, it reminded me of like how important then it is to be able to like connect the client with a different resources. Like I don't like right, like you're speaking like I don't know how to like do a budget or I can't help you with that. So okay, like who's the other community member that we can connect you with that
mm,
can help you with this?
yeah,
Um, and so it made me think of that, like just the importance of also like resources and connections.
yeah, and no, I live in a state, that doesn't promote any good resources that they do have. So it's like I literally just saw a resource on Facebook for seniors. I'm like, immediately I like this is one of my biggest pet peeves living in this state. Like, why is this not promoted for our elderly folks? So like, it needs to be promoted. Like, put money in the budget to promote this. I need to see commercials on TV. Like, let's go.
That's another great point. Like there's all these resources out there, but like we don't even know about them. Like, right? Like
Mm,
where's the like access like to them? I was just hearing someone, a colleague say that she got like a scholarship to get trainings for 2 years. I was like, oh, that's so neat. I was like, but I've never heard about that. Right. So I think it's not only like the resources, but it's like how do you even hear about them? Like how where are they
mm.
marketed? Like how do we even know to like offer a client or direct a client to something we don't know exists?
Yeah, this. I mean, there's also like part of like issue with the profession too. Like, there's still a lot of gatekeeping within the profession. And it's like, how do you do this? Like, how do you like? Oh, that's cool. You did that. How you did that? And it's like, just share how you did it. We there's plenty of money like out there so that everybody can have a piece of the pie and eat a little bit. So it's just like just share the knowledge. Like I literally just shared with a colleague friend of mine. It was like how to because she works in New York City education and how to when she passes away, like the pension that she gets actually goes down to her kids and I showed her how to do that. Like so it's just they just little things that you could do and just share knowledge and information for folks to because we all in the same struggle one way or another. We all dealing with the inflation. We all dealing with the orange man acting the fool on a daily basis. We all seeing the videos online and whether you politically how you feel about them. We all seeing the same video. We might have different conclusions to a video, but we all dealing with the same like traumas that we're seeing day in day out in this country. So it's just help each other out.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially during these times. Like I've been saying a lot lately. I'm like nobody prepared us to be like mental health providers during a time like this. Like I certainly was not ready to navigate not only what's coming up for me, very personally and all the emotions and feelings while at the same time having to like hold space for clients and how
Hmm.
do you like navigate that? So I think more now than ever, it's a time, yeah, for us to like not gatekeep resources, to be open, to share. Um, yeah, not to feel like, oh my God, like if I share this, like, like I'm not going to be able to like do good for myself if I share this. And I think more than ever, like that point is such an important one. That's when you asked me at the beginning, like how does one do immigration evals? Like I first at the training, and I do also wanted to emphasize like it's reaching out to a colleague and saying like, hey, like I'm interested in this work. Like, can you take some time? Can you take 30 an hour and like walk me through it because this is meaningful work to do?
Hmm.
And sometimes we're like, oh, do this training, go pay X amount of money for this training, go pay. Sometimes we don't have those resources. Just back to the conversation we were having.
Yes.
And we want to help in these ways, but we don't have thousands of dollars to go do these trainings.
Hmm.
So again, more than ever, I think it's the time to be able to like say, yes, like I'll sit down with you, I'll walk you through the process, like and not gatekeep resources of information to ourselves.
Right. And even like you do have the money that to pay for those trainings. That's great. That's on top. You might have a 9 to 5, or you have a business or whatever. That's additional money that you can get for you, like doing these evaluations, and plus you're helping folks in their direst need, like they're trying to stay in this country, do it legally, asylum seekers or whatever their situation is. You're doing good work, and plus eventually going to get paid for it. So that's an extra source of income for yourself. So is a win-win. That goes back to we gotta be in it for the as much as the money as it is for the outcome. So that's a perfect example of you doing both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I went in to do an immigration evals because, quite honestly, I was at a point in my career that I was getting burnt out of doing the one-on-one work.
Mm,
And I was like, this just can't be it, the only thing that I'm doing. Like, I wanted to diversify like my outreach, how is helping people, being mindful again of like my income. And I was like, what better way than to help our community and to do these evals? I mean, don't get me wrong, they're really hard and draining at the same time also.
mm.
But it's different type of work. Like I'm not doing like the one-on-one. I'm connecting. I am helping them through that process. I'm writing a report that ultimately, the goal is that it's supporting their case and being able to stay in the country.
Yeah, I thought about briefly doing that work, but just working with 9 to 5 and or 9 to 5 I had and working with immigrants, it was a lot as it is getting their medications and just dealing with the system of Medicaid and everything like that. Or like I can't even imagine doing an evaluation. That would definitely be draining, like for me mentally, which and physically too.
No, they definitely are. Like when I schedule those, I'm not really scheduling many other clients, if any at all. Because it is like, the way I describe it, it's like a trauma dump, right? Because they need to share
Mm,
all this information, like so you
mm,
can capture it. And, it's also helpful in those reports sometimes, like if they have like scars or proof, like physical proof of like an injury. So oftentimes they're like taking off like their shirt or like just like not completely, but like, oh, look, let me
mm.
show you. Because those are things that you can document on the report. So they are absolutely very draining. So I am mindful of that, but that goes back to when we were talking about being like a business owner, of being intentional, strategic of like what do you want to spend your time on,
Mm,
and what's your goal? Like what you were just saying, it's so important. Like you stop to reflect, like, wait a second, like I don't know that this is gonna serve me well, like mentally or physically. So you have to like stop and make that decision. And that's what I've
right.
learned the most, like pausing and reflecting and thinking like, what's my end goal here?
And that goes with anything too. Is you might go into. I'm talking to like the MSW students on you or beginning social workers. Like you might go into like I want to work with this population. That you're in it. You think like I don't want to do this anymore. So it's okay to switch. Populations. I've been lucky and blessed to work with many different populations, and I worked in the school a year and a half. I was like, school social work is not for me. I'm like done. Like so, it's like I quickly though was able to get out of that. So just you got to do whatever is best for you and try different things. Or you might try something that just to try because at the end of the day, it goes back to money. Like I need to pay bills. Like you might do something you might not normally think you would have done, and you might love it, and then there you go. You got your whole career in doing whatever that might be. So just try working with different populations.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like just being open to like trying different populations, different services, like, like not everyone wants to do the one-on work, the clinical work, but and there's still so many ways to like make an impact and reach out to people and help, right? Doing speaking engagements.
Mm,
There's so many different things, and I think that's another thing to change that narrative, that the only way to like help in our field it's doing the one-on-one work, because the reality is that there's so many different ways. um
mm,
to reach out, make an income and on the way. I would say that with the income, the biggest thing is just like making sure that it's something that you're aligned with, that you're passionate about, that feels like it's something like your niche, because that's oftentimes where we do the best work. Um, and so it feels less of a job. It feels like,
Yeah,
wait, I'm really passionate and involved in this. And in the meantime, great, I'm making money off of this. But that becomes secondary when you're really driven by the fact that that's something you're really passionate about.
yeah. I want to go back on you talking about how everything that has been going on. How's it been like for you? Like know, when you look at your phone, your feed, and you see everything that's been happening with the new administration. Like how's it been like for you to see that and still like be a business owner, see try to still be centered and not for your clients like or just for you personally. How's it all been for you?
Yeah, so we can turn this into a therapy session to for me. It's been really, really hard to like open my Instagram, to open my like social media and see these videos and read these things that are happening. And then still have to show up and help clients and hear them and their suffering and their pain and their fear, right? That it's you could feel it, and it's been incredibly hard to just be able to look at that. I would say, to be honest, um what's helped me recently, and I don't even know that this is helping me to be honest, but just to be present and continue to show up for my clients, has been to kind of really limit my social media intake,
Mm,
presence, and how much of it I'm seeing. But I do have to say it's a really, really hard, like, I hate this word balance, but it's been really
yeah.
hard because I want to be informed, and I want to know what different ways I can help and what I could do, while at the same time realizing like it's burning me out and it's making me like feel less effective, and it just gets very confusing, and you can
Mm,
hear like I can start like spiraling in that space because it's I want to be informed, and we need to be informed. We need to
no,
know
absolutely.
like what's happening to then be able to like help our clients, while at the same time feeling like, whoa, like this is so overwhelming. And those are not even like words that fully capture what's happening right now.
Yeah, overwhelming doesn't really it's not even like the right word anymore.
Correct.
It's like beyond that, whatever that word is. Like it's because it's literally like it's not almost not even every day. It's like multiple things in one day, and then the next day happens, and like you wake up, and it's like breaking news, something is
You
happening, and
haven't
then
even finished processing, yeah, like what
exactly.
has happened before you're like seeing something else. And yeah, I've been in the space of having a really hard time even putting like words to it. It's I yeah, I keep saying I'm like nobody prepared us to be in
No,
this.
that's no, that's a fact. Like I mean, just now, like within like the last year or so, like starting to see the aftermath of pandemic, and it was like you know the killer in chief comes in and he's like literally doing everything he said he was going to do. Literally, that's everything that's laid out in Project 2025. It's like a wild time. Like we nobody prepared us to work social services under a pandemic, and now we got all this stuff that's happening with ICE and everything the administration's currently doing, and like literally every day it's two, three, four things in one day a day.
Yeah, and it's like managing like the rage that comes with like seeing these like videos, like the sadness, the yeah, it's so hard to even like put words to it, but navigating from fluctuating to like feeling like outright like rage and anger, and disbelief and all at the same time, and just like thinking like yeah, like how did we get here?
Mm.
And it's, yeah, I can go on to it, but it's just um
And
it's
I
more
mean,
like I'm noticing for me right now as we're engaging this
yeah,
conversation, like, how like challenging it is
like
just as I'm thinking about myself, but also thinking about like the community, my clients,
mm,
and merging all of that.
I brought up recent on a recent episode of my podcast. Like, there's so much that's happening that like no amount of self care can really help with force everything that's
Or
going
beyond
on.
self-care.
Yeah, but what do you do to like try to decompress? Everything. No, you mentioned trauma dumping, like clients have done with you, but what do you do to like kind of escape, even if it's for like a couple of hours at a time, and not focus on Erica?
That's a good question, especially lately. Between what we were just speaking about and having a hard time disconnecting from that, and then like really like building my business. I would say the biggest thing for me is just being in safe spaces and meeting like safe people, communities, like-minded um, people and communities that I just feel like I'm safe and we can talk about whatever it is. We don't need to talk about politics, but it just feels like safe and feeling like protected with my family and friends, and everyone around me. So I would say that's the biggest thing is again being like in safe places, and really spending a lot of time with like my family, with my nieces and nephews, and just like being able to just like laugh. Sometimes like kids have like that innocence to them still,
Mm.
that's infectious, and like they don't really fully understand. I mean, at least my nieces are younger, fully understand everything that's happening right now. So like just seeing them be able to like play and engage and playing a game with them, or doing something that can like take my mind off of everything that's going on right now, like I would say that's what's been most helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to end on that note, because with everything going on, we could it's just a lot happening, and it's important to keep talking about it. Get myself to get as much as I can, like use the podcast to we need to share what's happening in real time, what is happening, and to fight the good fight, and keep pushing, and social work is political, and there's no escaping that. So we literally just had a government shutdown not too long ago, and literally had a social worker impacted, financially by what happened, and food stamps were cut for millions of people. So like it hit home on the food stamp level. So we have to keep talking about it and be aware, and address these issues that affect everybody.
Yeah, I would say now more than ever. Yeah, social work is political.
Where can people reach out to you, or are you taking clients? Like, how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I am have very limited spots open right now, but I am looking to hire someone right now. I just put out that post this week. So if anybody is looking for work at a trauma-informed practice, you could reach out to me at through my website, unscriptedtherapy.com, or you can find me on my Instagram at unscriptedtherapy.
Awesome, Erica. Great. Keep up the great work. Stay safe out there, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.